Support for WBUR comes from MathWorks, creator of MATLAB and Simulink software, to design and develop engineered systems, accelerating the pace of discovery in engineering and science. Learn more at mathworks.com.
WBUR Podcast, Boston.
This is Up Next. I'm Tiziana Deering. Musicians will now have more power in steering the artistic future of the Boston Symphony Orchestra. BSO management agreed to the new model in a last-minute union deal Tuesday evening. Contract negotiations were tense in the wake of the BSO board's unexpected decision not to renew a contract for music director Andris Nelsons. The BSO and its musicians said in a joint statement that they are now looking to the future, but a group of patrons loyal to Nelsons says, quote, "The battle for the soul of the BSO has only just begun." Joining us now, Boston Symphony Orchestra President and CEO Chad Smith. Welcome, Chad.
Thank you for having me.
Chad, is there a battle for the soul of the Boston Symphony Orchestra?
I think that there is a path forward for the Boston Symphony after the negotiations concluded this weekend, and an optimistic one, I would start with.
And what do you mean by that?
The negotiations across the last 6 months have been challenging, no doubt. This has been a difficult time for the BSO as we've navigated this non-renewal of Andris and the backlash that we have felt within our community and certainly within our orchestra. And I would say that those negotiations had a rough beginning. But by the time we got to the middle of the summer, there was a real sense of collaboration and coming together and finding ways where management and the orchestra could work together in a new model, which allows for the entirety of the organization to determine its future.
So there's a lot in what you just said. There are several pieces I want to pick up on, Chad, and we'll go back a little bit. You talked about over the summer things started to get better in the negotiations, but just recently the musicians actually voted to authorize a strike. They didn't strike. You came to agreement. But that's a pretty contentious move. What makes you believe that there is a place of peace now? That was just like a few days ago.
That's true. The strike authorization, which was something that wasn't unexpected by us in these negotiations, we knew that they were going to be tough, obviously, given the environment in which we were negotiating. Clearly, the negotiations in the last week are when things really kind of heated up, but also sped up. And the negotiations at the table really found that common ground. Both parties made compromises, and I think importantly came up with a contract that really, again, sets a new model for how major orchestras work together.
So the new model, as I understand it from the statements, has to do with the fact that musicians will now have kind of a level of influence, control, voice, say, pick your word, on the artistic direction of the Boston Symphony Orchestra, including in the hiring of a future music director. First question that comes to mind, Chad, is does that mean that's an admission that you did it wrong when the announcement came out and musicians didn't know that Andris Nelsons' contract wasn't going to be renewed? Is that an admission that you did something wrong? There was something to correct?
We knew that this rollout was a challenging. That when we made the announcement about the non-renewal of Andris, we knew that there were challenges in the way that happened, and obviously it's not the way that we wanted it to roll out, and we imagined a different process. But
so why didn't you do a different process?
I think there were lots of kind of restrictions on the way that the parties could speak publicly. So I think that was a real challenge that we've addressed in the past. But I think what it allowed for us to do in this negotiation is say, okay, on a going forward basis, kind of where is the place where we all agree? And what we all agree is that the next music director of the Boston Symphony is going to be one that has to have the widest, broad support of the orchestra and the board and management. And so how can we create that mechanism to ensure that? So we've made changes to the way that the music director's search process goes. The search committee is now equally populated with musicians and board and staff. It also ensures that the BSO board will only choose a candidate that has been qualified by the committee, but really centering the work of the musicians. They are going to be working with this person day in and day out, and so their voice is important.
So let's say I'm a casual goer. I've gone once or twice to Symphony Hall and seen the Boston Symphony Orchestra. I'm hearing this conversation. You're saying this is an unprecedented and new way to figure out what the future, my words, sounds like.
Yeah.
What is that vision for the future that you think you and the musicians share? What's that casual patron going to hear next year?
I think at the center of it, is a real shared belief that excellence in everything that we do is critical, and that our audiences expect it.
Okay, I'm going to
So
stop
for
you
us,
there for a
that is,
second.
yep.
This is going to sound way more argumentative than I mean it to, Chad, but
Okay.
does that mean you weren't already excellent?
This is a way to, of course, the Boston Symphony has been excellence. It's been an orchestra at the highest level of excellence for a very, very long time. So it is really, I think, the critical conversation about how an organization evolves, changes, and serves our communities through the highest level of music making, which is something that has defined the BSO for 145 years.
And I said at the top this quote about the battle for the soul of the BSO. Patrons have protested. They've been upset. You're marking this moment where you say that you, the leadership, the musicians, the board are moving together in a new future. How do you know patrons will come along with you?
I hope that they're going to come along with us. I think one of the things that we've realized in this period is how deeply, passionately people care about the Boston Symphony. And this conversation that we have been having across the last 6 months has been hard, but it's also been a reaffirmation of how much the BSO means to so many. That the BSO management board and orchestra have come together in this moment with an agreement that lays out a new model is our invitation to our audiences to come with us. And I hope they will.
That was Chad Smith, President and CEO of the Boston Symphony Orchestra. The BSO's season opens September 17th.